Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're taking a look at another one of the brand new Vets weapons. This time we're taking a look at one that I was personally very excited about, the Corrasion, an arc heavy burst pulse rifle. And the reason that I was excited about this one is that I actually really love the heavy burst pulse rifles. And this one is an arc one that comes with some of those beautiful arc perks like bolt shot, and also some other pretty good PVE perks. This is mostly going to be a PvE weapon. It does have some good PvP perks, but it definitely leans more towards PvE. So in today's video, we're going to be going over what are the best perks that you can get on this weapon, the ones that you should be looking for if you're looking for a god rule, and afterwards we're going to have a mini review where I just kind of talk about the positives, negatives, and everything I like or dislike about the weapon. But before we get into any of that, first let's talk about how to actually get this weapon. The main way that you're going to be able to get this weapon is going to be for running those seasonal activities. I recommend that you run the legend one since you get more drops that way and you're more likely to get this weapon to drop. Another main reason to use this weapon is definitely going to be because of the straight perks and because how good the aggressive frame pulse rifles are this season. They are anti-barrier weapons, meaning that if you're doing GMs, you're probably going to want something that's anti-barrier. And also the aggressive frame pulse rifles this season. They just feel really good in PvE. If you haven't used an aggressive frame, definitely give it a try. You won't be disappointed. Although there's actually not that many in the game right now, so I'm glad to see that we're getting a new one. But let's not waste any more time and let's actually take a look at the perks that this weapon can roll. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about the barrels and the magazine, and then afterwards we'll take a look at the trade perks, and that's where we're going to spend most of our time. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's start talking about the barrels. And for PvE, the barrel won't matter. You can pretty much get any barrel and it will be good. But I would definitely recommend something that increases your handling or stability, like the fluted barrel. Now for Crucible, these pulse rifles already has some pretty great range. We're not really going to have to go all in on range like we do with other pulse rifles. So with this one, we could go with something like Arrowhead Break for more recoil direction and some handling, since, like I said, these weapons have some pretty low handling. Or if you still want to get a bit more range, you could go for something like Corsair Rifling. It's going to give you stability, it's going to give you handling, and it's also going to give you range. So you get +5 on all those stats, and it's just going to make the weapon feel a lot better. But you definitely don't need to completely all in on range on these weapons, since the base range is already going to be pretty good. Now moving on to the magazine, these are going to be our options. We have steady rounds, alloy magazine, appended mag, fed mag wool, extended mag, tactical mag, and lastly accurized rounds. And for PvE, the main things that we're going to look for is to either increase our magazine, or if you're going with bolt shot on this weapon, you want to increase your reload speed. If you want to lean more towards the magazine increase side, you could go appended or extended mag. And if you're more on the reload side, you could go with ferret mag wool to give you a lot of reload speed and stability, or with tactical mag for a bit of magazine and also a bit of reload speed. All of those are going to be pretty good for PvE, depending on which way you kind of want to use this weapon. And for Crucible, the only real choice is going to be accurized rounds. It's going to give us that extra range increase, and that's pretty much all that we need. As long as we increase our range with accurized rounds, we're going to be pretty good. And now let's move on to the main meat and potatoes of the weapon. Let's talk about some of those trade perks. So these are going to be our options for the first perk. We have Air Trigger, Perk Refloat, Pugilist, Eddy Current, Enlightened Action, Perpetual Motion, and lastly High Impact Reserves. I think that we're going to be starting off with PvE perks. And the main ones that I think that you should look for in PvE is going to be Enlightened Action, Eddy Current, and maybe some Pugilist. But I think the best one is definitely going to be Enlightened Action. Enlightened Action is perfect for this weapon. Not only are we going to get a ton of reload speed, but we're also going to get some handling, which is going to be really good on this weapon, because once again, they have some pretty low handling. So it's going to make the weapon feel better, and it's going to give you some crazy reload speed. Now, Eddy Current is going to be kind of like Enlightened Action, but only whenever you're running an arc build. If you're in an arc build, then you can pretty much have Eddy Current up all the time. Eddy Current got a big buff with the final shape, and is definitely a lot better now, but I still don't think it's going to be as good as Enlightened Action. And then the last perk here, Pugilist, will make it so anytime we get a final blow, we get some melee energy back, This was gonna be good if you're running a melee build, but that's pretty much the only time I would recommend going Pugilist. Now if you're looking to take this baby into the Crucible, you either want Enlighten Action or Perpetual Motion. Perpetual Motion is going to give you stability, handling and reload speed whenever we are in motion, which in the Crucible is pretty much all the time. So it just kind of like passively increases your stats. Perpetual Motion or Enlighten Action, both are going to be fantastic for PvP. Those are the ones that you need to go for. So those are going to be the perks that I recommend for this first slot. Now let's take a look at the second one. So this is what we have for the second perk. We have Eye of the Storm, High Ground, Frenzy, Swashbuckler, Bolt Shot, One Furrow, and lastly Focus Fury. So once again, let's start off with PvE, and the main two that you're gonna look for is gonna be Bolt Shot and One Furrow. Bolt Shot is gonna be some amazing at clear. You're also gonna be able to damage bigger targets. Bolt Shot is like the perk you always wanna go with on your arc weapons, and things don't really change with this weapon. It's just gonna be really hard to beat Bolt Shot. The extra damage, the ad clear, the ease of proccing. If you are gonna go Bolt Shot, remember to use pair it up with all the reload perks that it requires, just so you can reload a lot. If you're on an arc build, then any current Bolt Shot is actually really good, since you just always have that extra handling, that extra reload. And if you're not on an arc build but still using Bolt Shot, you should definitely go Enlighten Action. Now for the other perk is One Furrow. Now One Furrow is going to give us a big damage buff, a 35% damage buff after hitting 3 targets. It's pretty easy to proc. You basically can have One Furrow up most of the time in PvE. You can refresh it, but that's no issue because as soon as it ends, you can use reproc it again. So you're basically always going to be walking around in PvE with a 35% damage increase, meaning that you're going to be killing things really quickly. So what you're looking for is a consistent damage buff, then One Furrow is something that you can go for. So these two perks right here is what you want to look for PvE. Nothing else in this slot is going to be as good as these perks. Nothing gives you a big of a damage buff as One Furrow, or is going to be as good at clear like Bolt Shot. Now if you're thinking of taking this weapon into the Crucible, the main one that you want to go for is going to be Eye of the Storm. This weapon is going to be more accurate, and you're gonna get a big boost to handling when your health gets lower. So it's just gonna be some free accuracy and handling in Crucible, and this is pretty much like the only perk that you can really go for in this slot. If you want the weapon to feel a little bit more forgiving, you could go with Swashbuckler, but it doesn't really decrease the amount of headshots you need on every single resilience. It only affects like lower resilience guardians, so it's not gonna be very consistent. So because of that, I wouldn't really recommend Swashbuckler. It's something that you can do, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I definitely think that if you're taking this weapon to the Crucible, it should be with Eye of the Storm. So those are the perks that I'm going to recommend for the second column. And now let's actually talk about some God rolls. So the very first God roll that I want to talk about is going to be the one with Bolt Shot. So we have Fluted Barrel, Fred Magwell, Eddy Current, or Bolt Shot right here. And this is what you want to use if you're using Arc with Bolt Shot. If you're not using Arc with Bolt Shot, then you want to use Enlighten Action and Bolt Shot. You're going to have a lot of reload speed, meaning that you're going to be able to keep proccing that Bolt Shot. It's going to be a pretty fantastic roll for pretty much anything. You can never go wrong with Bolt Shot. You can also run this with Enlighten Action and One Furrow if you're feeling One Furrow instead of Bolt Shot. You know, you just have to change that second perk. Now for the Crucible, you want to go with Corkscrew Rifling, Accurized Rounds, Perpetual Motion, and Eye of the Storm. This thing is going to feel really good. What I really like about this roll is that it doesn't really rely on kills or anything like that. It's just going to be a good feeling roll all the time. And those are the God rolls that I recommend that you guys should be going for Crucible and for PvE. Let me know in the comments below what is the God roll that you guys are going to be going for. And if I didn't mention a perk that you think I should, leave me that also in the comments below. So now let's actually talk about the weapon a little bit. So most of the time that I actually play with this weapon, I was playing with a Eddy Current and Bolt Shot roll, at least for PvE, and I gotta say, it feels really nice. Bolt Shot, it's just Bolt Shot. I already laced up Bolt Shot enough for the rest of this video, so I actually really like this weapon. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the heavy burst pulse rifles, so I already knew that I was kinda gonna enjoy this weapon, but now after using Bolt Shot on it, I really like it for PvE. I definitely think that this is gonna become like my go-to pulse rifle for this season. Since it's a berry weapon, it's an anti-champion weapon, I can definitely see this one being really good in something like GMs. But even when there's no champions involved, using that bolt shot is so good. It makes it feel really nice. For the Crucible, I didn't spend as much time in the Crucible as I did in PVE. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But from the couple of games that I played, it seemed pretty okay. About as good as some of the other heavy bursts. If you like heavy burst pulse rifles, then you're gonna like this one. But if you already don't like them, then I don't think this one's gonna change your mind for the Crucible. That's pretty much what I think about this thing in the Crucible. But overall, I definitely like the weapon. I think it's a great addition to the heavy burst archetype family. Definitely give it a try, especially if you get some of those early red borders. I don't know what's going on, but today there's just been so many red border drops that I'm getting a little suspicious. But anyways, with that, we're gonna end today's video. Hopefully all of you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. Leave me down in the comments below. What do you guys think about this weapon? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are you gonna be using it for PvP or for PvE? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Once again, I appreciate everyone stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.